So every now and then, someone walks into this profession with a clear sense of purpose and a hunger to grow. Someone who reminds us why fresh voices matter and why the future of finance will look very different from its past. Today, you will hear from a young woman who refuses to let circumstances set her limits, who sees learning as a doorway, and who is already showing what can happen when curiosity leads the way. This is a story about looking ahead with an open mind and exploring what is possible. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back. And now I have a bee in the studio that is flying around. Hopefully I didn't get allergic to bees since the last time, but let's see. Anyway, good morning. Welcome to another episode, our second last for this season. So episode 39 today, and excited to introduce you to Karabo a little bit later and to hear all about her story as a young financial planner, what she's learning, what her journey has been like, more about her background and everything. So that's really something that I look forward to uncovering with you this morning. But obviously, it's not just me and Karabo. There's also a whole bunch of people here. First and foremost, Leilani is here to hear. Like, the one thing that might be happening is that maybe the year is starting to wind down a little bit, but surely the news is not. So we'll hear what has been happening. And she's here with Current Affairs, brought to you by the Financial Planning Institute of Southern Africa. So looking forward to that. We also have Razan here. Razan today talking about micro moments. So looking forward to what she has to share. And David is also back for his last segment of the year with Bulletproof Your Business, talking about scaling without breaking. Unfortunately, fortunately, probably there are no quick announcements this week. There's not much at this point that we can share with you, but Lene will be back next week with wrapping things up for us for the year, and then we'll get into the conversation with Karabo. So looking forward to a good episode once again. So let me say a warm good morning. Terence in the house, very first good morning. Really looking forward to today's interview. Thank you very much, Terence. Really looking forward to, hopefully people can see this. It's actually not a bee. It's a weird thing that looks like a bee, that looks like a zombie bee. But anyway, so Desiree, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Johan, good morning. Nice to see you as well. We've got Willem in the house. Good morning, Willem. Elmin, goeiemorgen. Nice to see you. Salome is here. So the full Rich Ideas group is just all everywhere. We've got Alfred. Good morning, Alfred. Nice to see you as well. Lihana, good morning. Thanks for saying hi. Greg is here. Good morning, Greg. Elna is here as well. Good morning. Tinus, good morning. Nice to see you. Frederic, good morning. Awesome to see you as well. Molly Boheng, good morning. Nice to see you. We've got Neil Phillips here. Good morning, Neil. We also have Johan Bloemeres. Goeiemorgen, Johan. Hoop het gaan goed daar by jou. Leilani is also saying good morning. Francis Neetling. Goeiemorgen, Francis. Lekker om jou te sien. Chriswell, good morning. Hope you're doing well. Nicholas, good morning, Nicholas. Nice to see you. Arun is here. Good morning, Arun. I hope it's going well. Mary, good morning. Nice to see you as well. We've got Nelson. Good morning, Nelson. Warm welcome here. Nice to see you. Carl, good morning. Nice to see you again. And also we've got Vera. Good morning. Nice to see you. And Mr. Ryan Redman, our guest from last week, if I recall correctly. Good morning. Righty, so ladies and gents, let's get the show on the road. And here is Leilani with the latest news.
Yes, good morning, Francha, and everybody online, and thank you for joining us from all over the world. It would seem you have guests all the way from London, and I don't think that was East London. So good morning, everybody. Let's jump straight into an update from the local financial sector conduct authority. There's a few enforcement issues that came through last night, but this whole week, I must say, there was a lot of public warnings that also came out. So let's look at the first enforcement update. Now, normally we read about cases where people go to the tribunal to to try and get their debarment overturned. But this one, the financial advisor actually won his case. So financial advisor has successfully overturned his debarment after the Financial Services Tribunal ruled that the evidence against him did not support claims of dishonesty or lack of integrity. Bjorn Frans Engelbrecht applied to the Tribunal for Reconciliation after Private Capital Consult Pty debarred him in June this year. The company had accused him of fraud, churning clients' policies for commission, failing to complete replacement advice records, and breaching confidentiality. Engelbrecht denied all allegations and argued that the claims were speculative and unsupported. The tribunal found that while the advisor may not have been a model employee, the explanations he provided were reasonable and not improbable. Importantly, the tribunal held that the debarment could not be justified on the grounds of dishonesty or a lack of integrity, the key requirement under the FASE Act. Procedural complaints raised by Engelbrecht were dismissed, but the tribunal ruled that the substance of the accusations did not meet the threshold required for the debarment. As a result, Engelbrecht's application for reconciliation was upheld and effectively lifting his debarment. Now, there was another tribunal case where the person that went to the tribunal was not that lucky. So a former FNB premium financial advisor has lost a bid to overturn a debarment after the Financial Services Tribunal ruled that her conduct showed a lack of honesty and integrity required by the financial services industry. So in a nutshell, what had happened, she actually accessed from FNB side her previous partner's bank accounts, and she also accessed family members up to and including 417 unauthorized access attempts. Now, she denied that it was that much, but she did indeed access family members and her previous partner's accounts. Now, her suspension application had already been dismissed, and the tribunal found no substance in her procedural objections. Now, you'll find that people like this will always try and attack the procedure. The FSCA said the procedure was followed, and the panel ruled that FNB was correct to conclude that she no longer meets the fit and proper requirements of honesty, integrity, and good standing. The tribunal therefore dismissed her application for reconciliation, confirming her debarment. Then in the press release that came out last night, the FSCA has taken strong regulatory action against 2 individuals involved in unauthorized forex trading scheme. Following investigation, the FSCA found that Chantal Kleinans and Pieter van der Walt solicited money from members of the public, promising to trade forex on their behalf without being authorized to do that. As a result, the FSA imposed a hefty administrative penalty of 1.5 million for Kleinans and 550,000 for Van der Walt. Both individuals have also been debarred for 20 years, barring them from working in the financial service sector. The FSCA will refer its investigation to the South African Police Services for possible criminal action and has offered to assist the police where needed. The FSCA has again warned the public to please avoid doing business with unregistered advisors and to always check the FSCA's website. Then the Omni Risk Return Francois team, the Financial Sector Conduct Authority, hosted various sessions via MS Teams, and at all times there was about 250 to 300 people online. And what the FSCA then also did is they published the presentations they used during the sessions for sections 1 to 4, 5 to 8, and 9 to 12. So please have a look at the FBI community. I have posted all those presentations from the FSCA on the FBI community. And please note that public comment is due by 30 November. And it's very important that we provide feedback, especially if you look at the terminology. There's a few things there that is defined, which I found is maybe not, which is in contrast with some of the definitions that we may find that is out there already. So please have a look at Omni Risk Return. And then a book that I'm reading at the moment, Francia, I thought I'll quickly share this with you. It's 52 Big Questions. It's really a good book. And the first session that I started with is section 1 focuses on big questions about branding and positioning. And this book is literally about asking 52 questions and that you need to work through for your business. So each week going forward, I'll try and remember to share the week's question with you. So this week's question is, what is the problem I solve for my customers? what is the problem I solve for my customers? So on that, Fransha, may you have an absolute blessed day, and everybody online. Cheers. Goodbye.
Thanks very much, Lalani. Just why I'm leaving you here is one, that's Mike Stopforth, right?
It is indeed. Yeah.
Yes, but
That's
also
Mike Stopforth.
just a quick reminder that Double Trouble next week, right? Final show.
Yes, I said to Nikki Double Trouble, and we'll be there, and we will surprise you with maybe surprising outfits or something. I don't know, but we will be there.
We will have to wait and see. Thanks, Lalani.
Yeah. Thank you,
Cheers.
Fransha. Bless you. Bye.
Thanks, you too. Bye. Alrighty, so thank you very much, Lalani and the FBI for that. It's great to see that there's action being taken against the right individuals. I really encourage that, obviously. Next up, we have Rizan, and Rizan in Digital Savvy Advisor today is talking about micro moments. And here's Rizan.
Good morning and a warm welcome to another episode of the Digital Savvy Advisor, proudly brought to you by PROpulsion. Now, as we close off this season, I want to talk about something small but mighty, and that is micro moments. In a digital world drowning in long posts, endless feeds, and masses of AI-generated content, clarity has become the ultimate relief. And that clarity shows up in micro moments. It's those tiny intent-driven actions where clients find what they need when they need it without noise or friction. Now, the brands that will win in 2026 won't be the ones creating the most content. They'll be the ones designing for intent, small, intentional, connected client moments that stretch across the entire client journey. So what are micro moments? Now, in Google terms, they're known as the I want to know, I want to go, I want to do, and I want to buy moments that happen in real time. Each represents a different part of the client world. Moments to plan, moments to learn, moments to evaluate, manage, trust, and then act. They don't just shout, they serve. And the magic is that they don't just drive engagement, they quietly build trust throughout the client experience. And we've seen this firsthand inside the profile ecosystem as well. Over the last 3 months, client interactions with self-service features have absolutely surged. And it's clear proof that people who prefer to explore before they're engaged. Our top 6 client-facing tools today say it all. Budgeting tools, it says, I want to plan. Downloads and templates, it says, I want to learn. Market indicators and calculators, it says, I want to evaluate. Access your portfolio, I want to manage. Book an appointment, I want to act. That's the entire client journey stitched together by micro moments that are simple, useful, and utterly human. So what does micro moments mean going into 2026? Think less about more content and more about better moments. Clients don't want more information, they want better direction. They don't want to be impressed, they want to be understood. They're looking for moments that make decisions easier and guides them forward without the overwhelm. So how do you design those micro moments in your own business? Here's a few ideas. Onboarding moments. After that first call or email, send a short WhatsApp message with a link to the next steps or an onboarding portal or even a checklist. It's a small, this is what happens next signal. There's education moments, sharing 1-minute explainer videos, voice notes, or calculators that helps your clients model their own scenarios before they meet with you. There's reassurance moments, showcasing your team, your expertise, an award, an accolade, or sharing a client testimonial or a story. It's not fluff, it's digital empathy. There's action moments, making it super easy for clients to find where to book a meeting with you, where to ask a question, where to find a form, where to submit a claim. And then there's also referral moments. Create referral assets and encourage your clients, happy clients, to forward it to their loved ones or post it on their WhatsApp status even. If they are proud to be working with you, give them the tools to communicate that out to the world with confidence. The reality is that multiple micro moments are not small at all. They are, in fact, the superhuman glue that holds the modern client journey together. They build trust in layers, one simple interaction at a time. Moments that are intentional, moments that reassure, moments that makes your clients' next steps effortless. And that's the real story of advisor marketing today. It's no longer about who speaks the loudest, but it's about who designs the clearest path. And that's it from me, from the Digital Savvy Advisor for this season. Thank you for tuning in, for showing up, and for staying curious about how technology and trust continue to evolve in advisor marketing. Back to you, Francois.
Thank you very much, Razan. Fantastic. And thank you very much for a good year as well. Some really important insights. And just a quick reminder to everyone that you can go back and watch all of our previous episodes of all of the seasons. And if you're ever looking for something you want to learn, we probably have spoken about it before. So why not have a look through the YouTube channel to see what you can find there that might be helpful or just help you refresh on some of the things we've spoken about before. Anyway, here's David with Bulletproof Your Business, and today talking about scaling without breaking.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and whenever you might be listening. Welcome back to Bulletproof Your Business with me, David Corp from FI Consult. Today, I want to talk about something every financial business faces at some point: how to grow without breaking your business in the process. Most businesses want to scale, more clients, more revenue, and maybe even more advisors. But growth without operational readiness doesn't feel like growth. It feels like pressure. It feels like longer turnaround times, drop balls, frustrated staff, and inconsistent client processes. So how do you scale sustainably? You build your operational capacity first. Let's unpack what that really means. Every business has operational cracks. They're normal. Maybe your workflows aren't documented. Maybe you're not using your CRM or tech stack to its full potential. Maybe your paraplanners are overloaded and your admin team is just firefighting. When the business is small, those cracks don't always show, but when it grows, they widen and fast. Scaling reveals everything that is fragile in your business. So the goal is to strengthen the foundation before adding the volume. A lot of advisors think that scaling is about adding more people, but that's only part of the equation. Operational capacity is the ability to handle more work accurately, consistently, and quickly without increasing stress. And it is built in 5 areas: your process capacity, clear, well-documented workflows; system capacity, using your tech stack properly and automating tasks; people capacity, having well-trained, clear members with clear roles; quality capacity, your consistent paraplanning, compliance, file notes; and leadership capacity, the ability to communicate, delegate, and manage change. If any one of these areas is weak, it creates instability. The pattern I see in many South African firms is the following: get more clients, everyone gets busy, hire someone in a panic, train them on the fly, fix mistakes later, repeat the cycle. This is accidental scaling, and it breaks the business. Don't let growth drive capacity. Let capacity drive growth. Here is a sustainable sequence for scaling. First, systemize before you hire. If you bring people into chaos, they will produce chaos. Document your onboarding, your reviews, your investment switching, your servicing, every single process that you have in the business. And if you don't have time to do all your systems, look at least your 5 to 6 top processes. Remove the single points of failure. If one person knows how the process works, your business is fragile. Cross-train, delegate, document. Strengthen your technology backbone. Your tech should help your business, not just store data. Build automation, templates, task flows, and dashboards to give you that management information that you're going to need. Build a capacity buffer. Design the organizational structure you want with the roles defined and documented, even if you're the only person and you're doing all the roles. What that does is it helps you identify when you need to bring somebody else in, and more importantly, exactly what you're going to hand over. It makes the handover process easier, knowing what to let go of upfront. Hire then before the breaking point. Aim for a 70 to 80 utilization rate. Don't wait until you get 100 utilization rate. Space creates quality. Train and develop your team. Okay. Growth relies on people. Make sure they're equipped, confident, and consistent. And if your pricing doesn't support the cost of serving clients, growth becomes unprofitable. This is how you scale with intention. Every business also hits the same operational wall, paraplanning. If paraplanning slows down, everything slows down. Onboarding, advice documents, reviews, implementation. If your paraplanners are overwhelmed, you cannot scale. So what you can do is hire junior paraplanners, create modular advice templates, outsource your overflow, automate data capture, giving your advisors structured fact-finding and plan briefs so that you've got a consistent back office formula. Then there's a mind shift change for the business owner. So it means you move from I'll work harder to I'll design a business that doesn't require a heroic effort. From reactive to proactive, from advisor to business building. The shift changes everything because you move from day-to-day chaos to intentional strategic growth. When you build operational capacity first, growth starts to feel lighter, not heavier. You get faster turnaround times, less stress, a better client experience, higher quality advice, improved compliance, and a happier team, and space to think strategically as a business owner. This way you handle volume without you or your staff burning out. So here's your challenge for today. Which part of your operational capacity requires attention right now? Is it your processes, your systems, your people, your quality, or your leadership? Strengthen that foundation and you'll grow with confidence. And then my final bright thought for the year. Koalas have fingerprints that are nearly identical to human fingerprints, a rare trait in the animal kingdom that evolved independently through a process called convergent evolution. The ridges, loops, and whorls are so similar that they can be indistinguishable from human fingerprints, even under a microscope, and have the potential to confuse forensic investigators at a crime scene. And did you know that koala bears are not even bears? They don't have the qualifications. So on that note, thank you, and back to you in studio, Francois.
Thank you very much, David. So koala bears, if they don't have the qualifications, they also can't be fit and proper, obviously. Shame. Okay, so thank you very much for your contributions for the year, David. Really appreciate it. And all the best in all of the last things you're doing in November. So before I introduce you to Karabo, just quickly, we are 75 subscribers away from 2,000. Luckily not the year 2000, but from 2,000 subscribers. So Lene had this goal of getting to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're so close. So if you haven't subscribed yet and you've gotten this far, please hit that subscribe button. Why is it important, right? It's not that it's particularly around one specific thing. It is because when we invite guests to the show, one of the first things they ask us is, how many subscribers do you have? Like certain guests, obviously. So if you want us to get more international people, more names in South Africa even, please help us do that. It does help when we have more subscribers. So we're like 76 away from there. So yeah, please. At the very least, if you do enjoy this, please hit the like button. Please share it on social and let others know what you thought, etc. It's really appreciated when you do that. Anyway, so with that, let me introduce you to Karabo next. Right. So Karabo Huma is from Soshanguve. She's part of a team at Reach Ideas Group, where she supports planners and advisors and is building a strong foundation in her future in this amazing profession. She brings a bright mind, a steady work ethic, and a deep passion for financial education, especially for young people and also for her community. So I'm very happy today to have Karabo with us. And on that note, Karabo, warm welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good morning, Francois, and everyone watching online.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to getting into the conversation with you, Karabo. Is there anything that you want us to know about you before we get going that I didn't mention maybe in the introduction before I just jump into asking all these questions? Is there anything you'd like to tell us about you?
No, definitely. You tried, Francois. But for everyone else, my name is Karabo Huma. He did say that I was born and raised in Soshanguve. I come from a family of 4, so I am the firstborn daughter to 3 amazing kids. So I have 2 beautiful brothers that come after me. Yes, I am currently at Rich Ideas as their intern. And I did my honors in financial planning from the University of Johannesburg. So in 2024, I got funded by the Women in Finance to actually further my studies and do my honors in financial planning. So yeah.
Fantastic. Karabo, so I mean, I'm obviously quite interested. Most people's story goes like, I landed up in financial planning. So I'm curious to learn. I mean, you're young, right? You are hip, you're happening, like you want to do very cool stuff. But what is it that drew you to financial planning, and when did it start to feel like a challenge or a calling rather than just, this is just a job for now? Like, tell us a little bit about what drew you to this.
Sure. Francois, for me, that's basically cycling back to my childhood, and I think that's what cultivated my interest in the finance space. So I grew up in a family that, finances were a constant topic in the house. And I saw how it had the power to break the family. So that's how I view finances and the strength that they possess. And I also come from a community that uses money as a tool to survive, just enough to see the next day, and for me, that is why I got inquisitive. But obviously back then, I didn't know that there was something called financial planning. I just knew that I wanted to go into finance, and that's what I did. I got into finance. And when I did my 3rd year, that's when I actually got, exposed to financial planning and what really is about. I remember when we had a case study competition with the FPI, we were given such an interesting case to work on. This man who had just got retrenched, and the wife was blind, and we had to find solutions on how they can continue living without the quality of life being compromised. And for me, from there, I think that's when I felt more in love with the profession, seeing what it actually does for people. And I always say it's actually inclined, or rather it's aligned with my purpose in life. I always say my purpose in life is to be of service to others. And financial planning is how I choose to be of service to other people, making sure that, they are well taken care of. Even when they're no longer, they're just making sure that their loved ones are well taken care of. So that is what drew me into financial planning, just the solutions we're able to bring as financial planners, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's, I guess you were referring to when you grew up and, sort of, and how the community and the environment in which you find yourself has a particular way of doing things, or they have particular circumstances and a particular mindset probably as well, that then all goes with that. I mean, it's true of any kind of situation like that. So how is it that, I know that you often say that you don't let your background define your future. That's something that you are quite adamant about and quite passionate about, I would say as well. So what is it in? Because there's always this one individual that decides, like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be like that. I'm going to do things differently. I want a different future. I want to change things. And not only do I want to, I'm going to. So how, Karabo, how are you managing to do that? And I mean, you're early on in your career, right? But what was that for you to go like, I can and will do this differently?
Sure. Franca, that's an interesting one. Growing up in my community, a lot of opportunities felt out of reach, it felt like you want to go to university. That is not really realistic with the financial situation at home, but I always say this, and I think that's how I've gotten to where I am right now. Having or finding a physical representation of what you want to become or what you aspire to be is something that sets you apart more than anything. And that is something that has set me apart. Back in Matric, we had a campaign coming in our school called Keep That Goal Shining. And we got allocated mentors, right? And they would take us to universities just so we can see that it is possible. And I think from there, that's where I drew my confidence in I can do this, the exposure that I got. I always say exposure also sets you so much apart because you're able to see that you can dream outside of the city where you come from. And even when you go outside, there's a lot of opportunities that presents themselves to you, so having the mentors that actually guided me in life helped me with the application, tried to reroute me in a certain way so that I'm much more exposed to opportunities, really put me where I am. And I always say, the same old saying, it takes a village to raise a kid. It takes a village to raise a child. For me, that has my life has portrayed that so well. I feel like I am where I am now because of in my different walks of life, people have given me certain opportunities. Back in Matric, we got the campaign that came and the mentors that I got helped me to, apply at varsity and get into varsity. When I was in varsity, when I was doing my final year, I had a lecturer that said, hey, I think you could be a good fit to represent the UJ at the FBI case study convention, case study challenge that happened in the convention center. Now that I'm working, there's a lot of opportunities that have been presented. And I think if I wasn't in those rooms, I wouldn't have gotten exposed to them, so for me, it's really the exposure. It's really have a physical presentation of who you aspire to become, or who you want to become rather, and allowing yourself to grab those opportunities. I know that, certain things I've never done, like coming on the show is something that is new to me. But when the opportunity is presented, I always grab it with both my hands and I'll see what I'll do. I don't know what to do right now, but I'll definitely see and find a way. So that for me has set me apart and it's put me where I am currently.
I mean, I was going to ask you a follow-up question, but you now answered that question actually by that last few sentences, because, you're either defined by your circumstances and your environment, or you have the power to change it. We've seen it a couple of seasons ago. We had this, what did we call it? There was the series that we did with young financial planners, basically, and we put it out to everybody. Wherever we could reach people, we said, you know what, we want to interview people who've got less than, I think it was 3 years or 2 years experience, and we wanted to talk to them and have them on the show, etc. And it is amazing to see how many people who are complaining about things on social media did not take up an opportunity to come and tell their story. And it's always like opportunities are there for everybody. The question is just, are you grabbing them with both hands? So you saying that's because that is the thing. Because one of the questions I want to ask you is do you feel like you were lucky to be in that room when that question was asked, or do you think that it was because you were intentional with taking up some of these opportunities that landed you in that room where that opportunity presented itself? So is it luck, or is it more a fact of how intentional are you about looking for opportunities and taking up opportunities when they come about?
Yeah, it's exactly what you said, Francois. yes, there's opportunities, but are you taking them and are you making good use of them? For me, I don't think it's luck. I think it's just being intentional about getting into those rooms and making sure that you stay, working as hard as you possibly can to make sure that you stay in those rooms. Now the world has changed. There's a lot of opportunities, Francois. It's much more different, like much more different than back then, and when all these opportunities present themselves, a lot of opportunities means there's more hands in the basket. So every other person is willing to grab that opportunity. So it's all about what you do to make sure you get those opportunities, you grab those opportunities, and you made good use of them. So I don't think it's luck. It's definitely the hard work and being intentional about your craft.
Yeah, so it's like the harder you practice, the luckier you get, right? So fantastic. Thanks, Karabo. The other thing that I'm quite interested to learn, like, I mean, you were studying and learning about this, and you were part of the student competition that's part of the convention and all of that, which I think is a fantastic initiative by the FBI. I saw again this year when they announced the winners and stuff. It's just, it means so much to those youngsters, doesn't matter where they come from. It's a massive thing to say, well, this is something, and they can also see what all of this leads to because they're part of all of this. So there's a little bit of a vision there probably. But for you now, going from call it the academic part of it, the theory part of it, the learning about it part, and then now suddenly working inside of a firm, and seeing things from the inside, not from a textbook side. Tell me a little bit, what's that experience like for you? Was everything in line? Like, just tell me about like when you started there and the year that's passed now, because you've been doing this for a year now. What were some of the things that struck you during that time?
Yeah. Francois, when you talk about the FPI convention and what that opportunity means to a lot of young people, I relate so much and I almost get goosebumps, because I remember most of my pictures, I was even crying when we won that competition, because that's how much it means, It gives us a sense of purpose more than anything. And it literally aligns your ducks in a row. The opportunities that comes thereafter are immense. As I said, even me being able to be funded by the Women in Finance was because of certain exposures. But going back to your question, I think for me, obviously, when you come from varsity and you start with your first internship, you're like, it's a direct translation of whatever that's in the textbook, But to be quite honest, that is never the reason. I think I am still amazed at how much heart and compassion goes into financial planning, to be quite honest. Yes, it's good, and you must know the technical knowledge. It's all about investments, but honestly, it's really not about numbers and investments and annuities and income protection. It's about being relatable to your clients. It's about having soft skills. I think that is one thing we never learn at varsity, that soft skills is literally at the heart of financial planning. And that is what I believe, you need to be, relatable to your clients. You need to be able to talk to your clients. You need to be able to hold conversations and you understand where they are coming from. I genuinely feel, my company and every other company that is a financial planning firm, the financial plan and basically consists of our clients' fears. It consists of our clients' goals. It consists of our clients' aspirations in life. And for you to be able to understand that, you need to understand where they're coming from. You need to be relatable to them and understand their fears from a personal level. And I genuinely think that's what sets us apart with other jobs that think AI is going to take over. So yeah, for me, it's really just the soft skills that I didn't think was needed for you to be able to be a financial planner. Because yes, it's about numbers, but to be quite honest, it's about people. Our profession is about people. It's about putting people first. It's about what most they care about. Yes, they want an income protection, but why? Where's that coming from? What are the fears around that? And that is something obviously we don't learn at varsity. Even when I was doing the case study competition, when we were met with that case, for me, it was just about how, you need to find a solution, yes, how this family is going to go forward now that the main breadwinner is no longer working. But understand the fears, understand where they're coming from. There's a lot of behavioral finance biases that happens in how people see money and the relationship they have with money. So yes, it's about the annuities. Yes, it's about the investments, Francois. But it was so amazing for me to actually find out that it's also more so about the people. It's more so about compassion, about your heart. It's more so about being relatable to these people that you're helping. And yeah, that's what amazes me every single day.
So I've got two questions I want to delve in a little bit deeper with you on this topic. So first and foremost, the soft skills that you were referring to. Do you think, because that is often the thing that we hear is that, oh no, I didn't like the two things that they don't teach you is usually in varsity is how to run a business, how to take the skill you've got to go run a business. But also the other part is that they don't teach you these soft skill stuff. So my question is soft skills something you think and feel, or what is your view on, is it something that can be taught, or is it something that is learned through experience only, or is it a combination, or how would you have loved to be better prepared for that part of the work?
Sure. I do think that the soft skills side comes with much
I think we've got a technical glitch.
more experience. I genuinely think that the soft skills side comes with much more experience.
So Karabo, just hang on there. So we lost you there for a minute. So can you just start again with from the time I asked the question, just start your answer again. I'm sorry for that.
Sorry for that. Francois, I genuinely think that the soft skill side of it comes with much more experience. It comes with being able to deal with clients, and the experience you take from that. Yes, I do think that it's a combination of experience and being taught. Soft skills is something that can be taught, but the more you apply it, the more you get better at it. So I genuinely think that it's something that can be taught, and it's something that comes with experience of dealing with clients, going through them with as they go through certain situations, for you to be able to see how best you can navigate it with another client. It can never just be taught alone. It's like learning something and not applying it. What good use is it? It's much better if you learn it and then you apply it to certain clients and get better. It's a skill that can be, polished now and then, to be quite honest.
And thanks for that. And then something that sort of leads on to that, also something that you said earlier, is that you've got to be able to relate to people, understand them, have compassion and all of that. How do you find that, with many different types of clients from different backgrounds and different cultures and so forth? Is there a difference? Does it make a difference that you maybe from the same culture or the same background versus somebody who's not? Or do you think if you really just focus on the person and getting to know them, that those, call them barriers that some people experience, is easily then overcome, or maybe not easily, but it can be overcome then? But just that dynamic between, relating and having that kind of interaction and relationship with different people. Because I think, like, for example, some men, to be honest, like doesn't help they don't like let's get into the deeper stuff. They just want, they just work from one part of the brain. They just want to get things done. And others would be open to that. And then you've got the different cultures, etc. So just maybe, how's your experience been around that? Maybe some thoughts around that, because I think that's something that a lot of people are finding really difficult to transcend those barriers.
Sure, Francois, you're right. It is quite difficult. I'm not gonna lie. I think culture and races, they do kind of have a certain barrier. Relatability isn't really much, but when there is a common goal, I genuinely feel there can be relatability. Yes, I might have clients that are, that have a different background from me, that have a different culture, or come from a different culture rather. It needs you to do twice as much work into getting to know them, to be quite honest. Getting to know someone also brings relatability. So for me, I think it's just unleashing those layers and getting to know them, which is going to bring relatability, which is going to also, make you understand and deal with them with heart and compassion, and understanding where we are going. So basically understanding the point of destination and where they come from. For me, I think that is what creates relatability. Yes, I mean, if we come from the same background or from the same culture or from the same race, there's maybe a higher chance of relatability. But I do think that it's not limited, and it's not that the barriers can't be removed. I genuinely think with a lot of work, unleashing all those layers, it is possible. It is possible to actually unleash and relate to your clients.
Yeah, awesome. A lot of young financial planners. So young, I mean, not just age-wise. So age is definitely one thing, but also sometimes just newer financial planners, sometimes they find it difficult to find their voice early on, like who they are, what they stand for, and who they want to work with, and all that kind of stuff. What has that part of the journey been like for you?
Sure. It's a constant journey. I'm still also learning that, I've walked into spaces and into rooms with surrounded by people that have been in the financial space, on the financial planning space for for many years, more than I've lived actually, people that have done this, people that are powerhouses, people that understand what they're all about and why they are in this profession, people that have built their craft. And sometimes that can be intimidating, it's really not easy working in a room and you're surrounded by people that have been here, that have seen all these legislations being amended, and they know what they're talking about. But I think finding my voice, and it's something that I'm learning, right, because I'm a baby in this profession, is that finding my voice is not about knowing everything. It's really not about knowing everything. It's really not about being able to offer solutions when a case is being presented to you on the spot. It's really not about being able to answer all the questions, or it's about being open to learning, being open to receiving these opportunities and grabbing them. And I feel for me, that's what has set me apart. That has been a game changer for me. That when I first started with this internship, I decreed and I said to myself, I am going to be a sponge and I'm going to learn. And I'm just going to dedicate the first few years of my life in this profession, learning and just learning, So finding my voice has literally been about that, to be quite honest. Yes, it's good to know certain things and have knowledge, but for me, it's always just been about learning more than anything. And and I think that's really just what sets me apart, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I love that. What do you think, talking about these experienced advisors and planners, and they've been around for long, they've seen it all, or so they think, just as none of us has ever seen it all. But what do you think they often misunderstand about what it is like being a young, because I mean, when they were young financial advisors and planners, many of them, not all of them, but many of them came from a very different pre-phase, pre-FICA, all of these regulations and that. So, and they've gone through all these changes. So when they started and what they had to do to get started versus what you have to do to get started, etc., is probably, in my opinion, not the same. But just in your view, what is it that they often misunderstand what it is like to be in your shoes?
Sure. I think a lot of experienced advisors think, we live in a different world now. There's a lot of opportunities now. There's much more accessibility as well. And I think they think it's easy, to make it in this financial planning realm. I think, they think it's easier than when they first started, which can be true to a certain extent, and I think, what, more accessibilities, more opportunities, more inclusiveness means, as I've said, a lot of hands in the basket. There's a lot of competition, to be quite honest, and you probably need to work twice as much, to be able to get to where they are. I mean, I don't think they understand that. And to be quite honest, Francois, now we are met, or rather, we're dealing with clients that are much more knowledgeable. We are dealing with clients that are much more informed. There's things like AI that our clients can use, to seek certain information, to learn about certain things. There's articles that are available online for free that they can view to teach themselves to get better. So it's hard to build credibility. I think it's much harder to build credibility. It's much harder to build trust, even with your clients, because of the reasons that I've just specified, and I don't think they understand that. And also, to answer it in a different perspective, professionally, I think as well, how they view their clients is much more different to how we view them, I mean, this also goes back to the relatability part and connecting with your clients. It's their approach, and I think it works. Their approach is basically connecting to clients, meeting up with them, having these lunches with them. Going to play golf with them, just so you can form a connection, or get new clients. But I think with us, we are more focused on the internet, because there's a lot of opportunities there as well. You can form these connections through the internet. There's LinkedIn's, there's a lot of spaces that you can go into that allows you to form a client base. So yeah, even from a professional perspective, how they view clients and their way of working is much more different. I understand that a lot of them are actually trying to move in with the times and actually, absorb and get better. But yeah, I do think that they think it's much more easier now, more than anything. But yes, there's accessibilities, but there are more people coming into this space, meaning that you have to work incredibly hard. So, yeah.
Awesome. When you look at the profession through your own eyes and sort of your viewpoint, what kind of future do you hope to see for financial planning specifically in South Africa?
Sure, that's a good question, Francois. I am, more inclusiveness, to be quite honest. I think, yes, we are getting there, or rather, the profession is getting there. It can be at a much more better space. I think more accessibility as well. But I mean, I do understand there's already varsities that are working on that, like what you see with us when I was at the University of Johannesburg. The competition helped with the exposure. It helped with a lot of accessibility to a lot of things, and to understanding that financial planning is actually a profession, So yeah, I think more accessibility and more women, more women, excuse me, and honestly, more Black women, to be quite frank, and more young people. But you know what? I'm loving it because I'm seeing more young people coming into the space. I'm not saying that there's a lot of old people, but I'm just saying it would be that. Yeah, to be quite honest, they are. But it's really nice to see more young people coming into this space and knowing about financial planning, and knowing that this is actually a lifestyle more than anything, knowing what it actually is, because also and that's just from my perspective, that there's a difference between like a financial planner and a financial advisor, for me personally. When a financial planner for me is someone who looks at your situation holistically, and offers certain solutions for the betterment of your future, not just a number to them. They're not just making commission or money from you. And I'm not saying there's something wrong about it. There's nothing wrong about that at all. So for me, it's really just the clear definition, because a lot of people, when you say, don't you want to be a financial planner or a financial advisor, they automatically think it's sales. Do you understand? So for me, hence I'm saying more education about the difference, and how financial planning really changes people's lives. Yeah.
Awesome. I want to ask you one quick question before we end off about the inclusivity, more inclusive profession and all of that. I fully agree with you. What I am curious about is what does that look like, and how do we get it? Does it mean, what does inclusivity really mean? Is it more opportunities that more people can take advantage of, right? Or is it that if you want to be inclusive, you've got to go get them and bring them in? Like, just maybe your way of looking at inclusivity from being an inclusive environment. What does that look like?
Yeah. So for me, it's a combination of both. It is basically more opportunities that people grab, that people make good use of. And there are no barriers. There are no cultural barriers. There are no racial barriers. There are no age restrictions. It's literally just a basket full of eggs that you can utilize the best way you see how, the best way you know how. It's also about accessibility to those opportunities, allowing yourself to go into spaces that allow you to feel like they are reachable. Go to these events that are happening in the fund. There's a lot of events that happen, and there's a lot of networking that happens there that allows you to be in rooms with people that are capable of bringing to you. So for me, it's mostly about grabbing these opportunities, and for those opportunities to be welcoming as well, in the sense that there aren't barriers around. You can always just grab it and make use of it, to be quite honest.
Karabo, it was fascinating talking to you. I really enjoyed it. Time flew by. So thank you so much for your time, and well done on all the opportunities you've grabbed hold of. That you're making the most of it, for all the contributions you're making to the profession. Don't think that because where you are and because you're still learning that you're not contributing. Do understand that you are contributing, and by being on the show, you are contributing, and through everything that you do every day, you are contributing. So thank you very much for that. We wish you all the best. If there's one last thing you'd want to say to somebody that's sort of, you a year or 2 or 3 ago, or somebody who just started, what would you want to leave them with today?
Sure. Francois, it's all hard work. It's really all hard work. It's consistency. It's be willing to do what others are not willing to do. Be willing to do all those small little things that people deem are irrelevant. It's all hard work, and it's knowing your why. This journey has been tough. Postgrad was tough, and this year in the financial planning space, it's been tough. There's a lot of times where you'll feel like you'll doubt your decision of getting into the space, because I genuinely think this space is not an easy space to be in and to remain in. But when you know your why and you're doing something, it keeps you through, even through adversities. I always say, I'm doing this simply to change people's lives. I am doing this simply because I want a change in my community. I am doing this simply because I want a better quality of life for me and my family. There's a lot of reasons why I'm doing it, and why I am doing it has kept me through everything that I've experienced this year alone. It has kept me through, adversities that you go through. So yeah, you should know your why. Have a clear vision of your why, embody it and understand it. What helps me usually is to, every single morning, to just say my affirmations and remind myself why I am doing something, and it's something that I'm very intentional about now. Because even when you burn out because that happens a lot in this profession when you've been working so hard and you've been doing this and you've been doing that. When you burn out, things like your why and your passion really keep you going. You understand? So your passion, the passion that you have for your craft as well, will keep you going. So for me, Francois, it's knowing your why. It's literally being passionate about your craft. It's hard work. Incorporate all of that with hard working, consistency, faith, and knowing that the physical representation I spoke of earlier is where you want to be, your destination. You have a picture. So yeah, working through it all, regardless of the adversity.
Awesome. Karabo, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for everything that you shared, and well done once again. And we wish you all of the best for the next steps and the next year that's ahead. And looking forward to running into you at all of the events and things like that. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Francois. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And I really appreciate everyone being here. I see there's quite some cool words of encouragement for Karabo in the comments. So thank you all for that as well. And next year, we're going to look at how can we incorporate more comments and things into the show. So we will do that. But for now, thank you so much. My guest next week is Zain Ali from Fairbairn Consult. We're going to talk some interesting things for the last show of the year. So I hope to see you back next week. I almost said next year. Next week. Anyway, so until then, you know what to do. Stay safe, be blessed, prosper, stay curious, and continue to raise the bomb. Love you lots. Bye.